I don't know if you follow this, Joe, but RFK saying no television advertising for drugs. I agree, too.
So I do.
I'm interested that you do agree because the big push on that was a First Amendment argument for a very long time.
I mean, I don't...
And we should talk about it.
I don't like them. I don't know if you just say you're not allowed to do them. But
well, then the question is, how do you do them?
Don't you think doctors should, if you need something, prescribe it? I don't need to be sold something for something I don't even have. I don't even know what the purple pill does.
I agree with you.
I think Gottlieb
I would like to see, if you remember, and that will bring on our guest, but if you remember, during the last Trump administration, when Dr. Scott Gottlieb was there, former FDA commissioner, and now, by the way, Pfizer and Illumina board member, CNBC contributor. You'll remember, Scott, that the Trump administration, I think under you, was trying to create a system where you had to actually do pricing and all sorts of other things in the actual ad itself, right?
Yeah, well, this was something that Alex Azar, the secretary, had put forward. So he tried to do it on the back of some FDA authorities, and we weren't able to do that from a legal standpoint. We couldn't compel companies to disclose list price in the drug advertising, which is what Secretary Azar wanted at the time, as part of the fair balance from a public health standpoint. And so then he tried to do it through certain authorities under the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. He ultimately got that rule in place. They were sued and they lost. So they were ultimately forced to rescind that policy, which shows you how difficult it is, I think, to try to make policy in this space where you're either compelling speech or certainly restricting it. So I wouldn't expect much to come of what Kennedy's been talking about in this regard. I think it's also going to be hard for the FCC to reach this through their authorities. The courts have recognized advertising as constitutionally protected speech, and you can either compel it nor restrict it. Under FDA regulation, it does have to have fair balance, and that's why you see the recitation of side effects in the advertising at the end of advertising on TV.
Can I ask you, actually, just on a very personal basis, I mean, given your background, you work obviously at Pfizer, you have the relationship with Pfizer and Illumina. You could argue that Joe and I have a relationship with the television world and NBC, which collects advertising. Here we are saying, actually, maybe this is not a good idea. What do you actually think? Put the laws and everything else aside. What do you personally think?
Yeah, look, we've looked at this with data over about 20 years at FDA, because this has obviously been a controversial issue. So we have commissioned, or we did when I was there, commissioned multiple studies looking at what the public health impact was of advertising. And by and large, what you found was that advertising seen on TV drove people who had symptoms into the doctor's office, prompted them to seek help-seeking behavior, and ultimately got more people diagnosed. And so the net public health impact was a positive one. Now, I know it's difficult for a lot of physicians. Patients come in asking for a particular prescription because of an advertisement that they saw, and if it's not a good recommendation for that individual patient, it takes a lot of time for a physician to counsel them on why not. And doctors are very busy. They don't have a lot of time to have these kinds of conversations. And so I know there are some frustrations among providers, but from purely a public health standpoint, in terms of prompting patients to go in and see physicians when they have certain symptoms that might be consistent with a given condition, it provides a net public health gain. And the advertising is tightly regulated in terms of what companies can say, so those messages have to be crafted towards trying to promote that help-seeking behavior.
Let's talk about Eli Lilly, or maybe actually we'll stick with the Trump transition team. You've heard about a number of things that have been said, even just in the past 72 hours. I don't know which one you want to pick, but I am curious what you think is about to happen here and what the industry is thinking.
With respect to which particular topic, what are you focusing on?
I mean, we can go anywhere. Let's go where we started, which is the W.H.O.
Yeah, look, I had talked to President Trump, about his decision to pull out of the WHO during the first term, ahead of that decision. And that was during the pandemic, which I thought at that point it would be a difficult decision for the U.S. to do that, given some of the assistance that the WHO is providing. But I certainly understand his frustration with the organization. It's hidebound. It's very political. It has been co-opted by China. China has undue influence on that organization. I think that there's things we can do to push that organization to reform. certainly one strategy, which it looks like is the one they may follow based on some of the reporting, is to pull out of the organization and force the WHO to have to come back to the U.S. and make concessions. I think a better strategy would be if Tedros got down to Mar-a-Lago or got on the phone with some of the president's people and made some advanced concessions. I think it's going to be very hard for him to negotiate after the fact, after we pull out of that. The price is going to be a lot higher for the U.S. to get back in once we've pulled out. If I was the WHO, and I don't think they're going to do it, but if I was the WHO advising them right now, and I know some of those conversations are happening with public health officials with the WHO right now, I'd be urging them to try to make some concessions to the U.S. along some very legitimate concerns that the president has had over a long period of time.
Let's talk weight loss drugs, because last week, as you know, Novo Nordisk announced test results for its latest product, but they disappointed. At the same time, the FDA is now weighing, or rather, I shouldn't say weighing, they've approved the Eli Lilly weight loss drug, Zepbound, for sleep apnea. Speak to both of these things, and I assume Zepbound is just making people weigh less, and that's helping people sleep better? Is that breathe better? Is that what's going on?
That's exactly right. And that trial that got that new indication on the label showed a substantial reduction in signs and symptoms of sleep apnea. If I remember correctly, I think it was a 42% reduction versus 16% reduction on the placebo. For patients who effectively their signs and symptoms of sleep apnea disappeared, or if they had some mild symptoms, it wasn't problematic. I think what's emerging, you combine this with the data from Novo Nordisk, which was a disappointment with respect to CagriSema, which is their follow-on product to their drug Wegovy. I think what's emerging is a picture that Zepbound and Mounjaro truly are best-in-class products right now. They're the market leaders, and even if Novo was able to follow with the approval of CagriSema sometime in the second half of 2025, which I think that's somewhat in question right now, whether they push ahead with an approval or try to get more data onto the label to strengthen that label, it still looks like Zepbound is going to be a better product and a best-in-class product. And by the time that CagriSema would come to the market, they're going to have a broad label, they'll have rebates in place and broad reimbursement and a lot of physician and patient uptake. So I think they're going to be hard to dislodge. And then you combine that with the fact that Lilly has another generation product, their next generation product, retatrutide, which is a so-called triple G. It's a GLP-GIP glucagon-like agonist. And that showed comparability in a phase 2 study to CagriSema. It's believed to be a more efficacious product than Zepbound. We still need to see the results of the phase 3 study. That'll come in first half of 2025. But it looks like they may have two best-in-class products. I think that's what you're seeing the market react to.